This is an Ork Stompa, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how I went from a blank canvas of a miniature to this paint job right here. This might even be my favourite paint job to date. Okay, so jumping straight into it. I started by using a thick bristle brush to create random, almost zenithal edge highlights all over the model, emphasising on the random patterns and brush strokes. Why I'm doing this will become very apparent later. The idea of this step is to pretty much cover the entire model and leave no large area without this what I'm going to call scratched effect. You don't want to apply this step with too much aggression, as you want this to be the wear and tear of centuries of time in battle. This Stompa has a story, and I want to show it through this paint job. Next, I'm blocking out the yellow sections of the scrap metal. The best thing about the Orks is their entire lore is built around them basically turning everything they can find into war gear, which is why the Ork Stompa always enters the forefront of a conversation, because the Stompa is literally the embodiment of exactly that. So when painting the Ork Stompa, you can be as free as you like when splashing your colour all over the place. It's almost like organised chaos, but you're not trying to overthrow the Imperium. I'm so sorry, my jokes are getting so much worse. Once the 3 layers, yes, 3, yellow is a hard paint to use when painting miniatures. Ask any seasoned painter. Once the yellow layers had fully dried, I went over them with an Army Painter speed paint to create almost a wash effect over them. Agrax Earthshade and other washes like Nuln Oil would mute the overall colour of the yellow. So, using a speed paint in the same way in a similar colour will have the same effect as a wash wheel on the yellow panels, without muting or dulling down the colour. You'll see what I mean by the outcome of this step on the screen. This is an awesome new trick I learned recently, and I'll be using this on more models in the future. Okay, so now the yellow is all done, I moved on to the next block of colour that will take up most of the rest of the model. Using a brown Army Painter speed paint, I apply this generously all over the body of the model and 80% of the scrap metal sheets. This will leave around 10% of the metal sheets remaining for the next colour. The brown speed paint over the random scratch brushwork we did earlier creates a rusty, century-old, worn-down effect that we're going for with this look. The end result is going to look incredible because of this simple step, and the best part is, you don't have to be an experienced painter to master this step, or even have a great paint job. Next, I'm going to paint the remaining sheets of metal in lead belcher acrylic, which is metallic paint from Citadel if you're unfamiliar with the names of some of these paints. I'll leave a full list of paints used in the description if you're interested. Once the metal sheets are all done, I went over them with an edge highlight of bright silver from Vallejo Model Color. This is to add depth of color to the metal, and I'll be doing this across the entire model on any metal parts. Now, going over all the other metal parts of the model like the guns, chainsaw arm, pipes and even the head, I use a dry brush with a lead belcher metal acrylic to create edge highlights and scattered detailing. Again, being very random and sporadic with this step to create a scrap heap war-torn look that this behemoth of a model deserves. Okay, the next step is one of my favourite parts of painting large models, and that's covering the metal parts in Agrax Earthshade. This isn't something I use a lot on my infantry units or really any other models at all. This is purely because I'm not a massive fan of the effect that Agrax Earthshade has on most colours. I feel that it brings down the effect of all your hard work on the shading and highlights that you do previously. However, when purposely used on metals and very worn down vehicles that have had years of service, I think washes and things like streak and grime have their places, but I'm not really a massive fan of streak and grime really at all. I personally think it completely ruins models, but washes like Nuln Oil, Rattling Grime and Agrax Earthshade do have a place, especially as the years of service and decades of weathering will pretty much remove any shine off any of the metal. Using a wash will dull down the metallicness of lead belcher significantly enough so that it doesn't look out of place. Once I've covered the metal parts of the model in Agrak Surfshade, I go back over the edges of the metal with the same light silver to make the edges pop again. Worn down metal might be old, but it's still bloody sharp.
I just wanna be never say I am. Not calling anyone else. Not falling into your hand. Just like you think I would do. I just wanna spend some time with myself. I'm not texting anyone else. I'm not falling for someone else. Guess I'll come back. Guess I'll come back. Guess I'll come back. Guess I'll come back.
Okay, now for a really fun step. Creating a glow emitting from a light or lantern on the chest of the Stompa. I start by adding Avalan Sunset as the base for the glow emitting from the light source, followed by a mid-tone of orange with a smaller surface area as the darkest part of the bulb, which was Fire Dragon Bright if you want to know the colour. Again, all from Citadel. I then followed this up with a second layer of Avalan Sunset as a lighter tone to emphasise the glaring effect that we added earlier in this step. Then adding a highlight tone of Flash Gears Yellow to really brighten up the centre glow of the light and add depth of colour, really making it look like it's glowing. Finishing the step up, I go in with a very fine tipped Kolinsky sable brush and add Rhinox High to the metal casing of the light to make it seem as though the light is shining through the metal bars. Okay, now most of the hard work is done, we can go in with other colours and pick out the details that will draw the eye of the spectator. This time using Mephiston Red as the base coat for the head of the missile, adding 2 layers for a solid good coat of the base colour. A little tip, if you're thinning your paints correctly, you'll notice that the very first layer may not always be the final layer. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 coats, but if you haven't thinned your paint enough, you'll notice that your layers always leave behind blotchy brush strokes. This means the paint is being applied too thick. Dip your paint in the water and dab away excess water, and then mix in the small amount of water into the paint on your wet palette to fix this issue. I follow up with a highlight of Evil Sun's Scarlet to give the missile a great highlight tone. Then repeating the same steps again with the red colours on other smaller details across the model. Now it's time to paint the horns. I decided that these horns have been taken from a massive beast and stuck onto the helmet of the Stompa as almost like a trophy, and also because that sounds really cool. Starting off with Rhinox hide at the tips of the horns, gradually getting lighter shades of brown as we near the base of them. Again, all paints used will be added in the description with their brands and where they were used on the model. Finishing off this step, I went over the horns with the same brown speed paint I used earlier on the main body panels to give them a more aged look and blending the colours a bit better. And now for the final step, taking a torn bit of sponge, dipping it into Rhinox hide and dabbing off any excess. I then apply this sponge fairly liberally all over the yellow areas to create a really good weathering effect all over the model. This makes the yellow paint look chipped, scratched and all worn down from all the years of service. Easy, simple, low effort weathering that looks epic every single time. And there we have it, one fully painted Stompa. All that's left now is a grand reveal. Cue the spinny montage thing, whatever it's called. Thank you so much for watching this far. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure you leave me a like down below. And also in the comment section, let me know if you've ever painted a Stompa or something of the same sort of size or even bigger. I'd love to know. Cheers for watching. And while you're here, why not check one of these two videos out? Go on. You know you want to.